welcome to another PSP. We are down to the final three, folks. It is time to preview the season for the team ranked third by your preseason survey. It is the Bronx Bandoleros, of course, run by our very own JMC. Last year, the Bandoleros finished, I suppose at that time, going by the name of JMC, finished in second place with a 15-7 record, tied for first place with Mike, and losing out, I believe, on total points rather than that head-to-head record. They did make it through the first round of the playoffs, but ended up losing in the LGCS, the Championship Series, to Flaming Prius. So certainly looking for a chance to kind of bounce back from what was a phenomenal season and, kind of take that next step forward and hopefully push for a championship. Let's look at the ins and outs from the offseason. Relatively small group of guys coming in. Ryan Weathers, newly acquired by the Yankees, and of course by JMC as well after that. Bryce Rainier and Mason Montgomery, those were the three guys coming in. Of the group going out, we did have Jurix and Profar. That worked out pretty well for JMC. Moises Ballesteros, Cody Ponce, Emilio Pagan, Devin Williams, and Porter Hodge. So quite a few guys in the bullpen. Those last three, so about half the group headed out, were bullpen guys. A few prospects and picks also transferred as well. But from the perspective of trades, relatively quiet offseason, I think. Obviously, the Profar move ended up, working out great for JMC, who picked him up off of waivers after Hideki dropped him last year. Following the PED suspension. He did great for JMC's team last year, and then he traded him off before that second PED suspension hit. So, he I think definitely maneuvered that challenging situation with Profar. Cody Ponce is a name I definitely want to keep an eye on. He was taken during the supplemental draft. And he has been absolutely carving people up in spring. He's one of the guys who came over from, I want to say, the MPB. But certainly one of the Eastern leagues, and I think is just going to be a really interesting player to keep an eye on in the Blue Jays rotation this year. So given how well he performed in spring training, obviously that's an interesting name to watch and see how all that goes. And then on the inside, Ryan Weathers, I think he's going to be fantastic. He seems to just fit what the Yankees are doing really well, and should be able to, I think, function very well for the Yankees as kind of a guy who can be in the rotation, and then when they get a lot of their guys back, move to the bullpen potentially. I guess I can't say for sure. And if that is the case, obviously that becomes very valuable for JMC as well, because he owns a couple of those guys who will be coming back from injury. So I think a lot of potential for that to be a pretty valuable piece for him to have this year. Let's take a look at the lineup and pitching staff. Both, as you can imagine, from the number 3 ranked team, pretty fantastic stuff. Yeah, this is some really awesome stuff. So let's dive right into it. We'll lead things off in the lineup as we always do with the catcher. It is William Contreras, ranked at number 83. Ben Rice, ranked at number 71, will be holding down first base. For the time being, it looks like Brett Beatty will be at second base with Royce Lewis at third. Until Volpe returns from injury, Jose Caballero will be holding down the shortstop position with Jack Caglione in the flex infield spot. Moving on to the outfield, which if it's not the best, it is certainly one of the best, top 2 outfields in this league. Wyatt Langford starts the group off, ranked at number 19 in left field. Michael Harris is second in center, with Aaron Judge ranked at number 7. Don't forget, takes into age. Age is doing a lot of sandbagging on that ranking. Aaron Judge ranked at number 7 in right field, and then Ronald Acuna Jr. at number 4 in the flex outfield spot. In the utility spot, we have Samuel Basayo ranked at number 45. So I would say pretty comfortably this is the best lineup we've looked at so far, and I may have said that already, but we hadn't gone over this one yet. It is dynamic, has pop and everything you could hope for top to bottom. And to make it even better, Judge is the oldest guy in it at 33. So this is a group that is going to be together for a very long time, and is, I think, already comfortably going to be one of the best lineups in the league this year. A few more guys who are also on the team as hitters, but aren't necessarily available right now. Jackson Holliday, who I think will mostly be playing second base for JMC this year and in the future. He's out with that hamate bone injury. JP Crawford, who is I think also likely to get some time at shortstop. I'm just quickly clicking on his. It looks like there's some sort of a shoulder injury. But it does look like he, I think, is likely to make opening day, if not certain yet. And then Anthony Volpe as well, who I mentioned earlier, obviously coming back from an injury of his own to the labrum, another shoulder injury. So a solid group on the, on the IL as well. So, this is a phenomenally constructed lineup. Youth. And upside in, guys like Basayo and Holiday and Caglione, youth and, I think, production that we've seen in guys like Contreras and Wyatt Langford, and then probably the best hitter in baseball in Aaron Judge. It is, I think, a damn near perfectly constructed lineup. If I'm being honest, it is in really good shape. Samuel Basayo is a guy to keep an eye on this year. JMC just has an absolute spoil of riches at probably the most difficult position to get good hitters at. He has, in my opinion, probably the best, based on results we've seen, the best catcher in baseball in William Contreras, and then probably one of the best dynasty assets in Basayo, who is also still a catcher right now. I don't know how long he holds that eligibility for. I'm sure that, Bose could tell us a little bit more in the chat. Ben Rice also has catcher eligibility, so if any of these guys go down, he certainly will not be struggling for catcher points this year. But then that outfield is just everything you could dream of. Langford, who I certainly did not mean to disparage him at all in the Anthony conversations. They are neck and neck, if anything. Obviously, I've got a little bit of bias there. But Wyatt Langford is such an unbelievable ball player. Great defense, though he'll never be taking away, negatives for you out there. Speed, he's got power, he's got a good hit tool, just everything you want in kind of a young middle of the order bat like that. And then Judge and Acuna. I mean, since 2018, these guys have been two of the faces of baseball, and they, are in this outfield together for JMC. Jack Caglione, I think, is somebody JMC has definitely sort of stamped as someone he expects to pop off this year. I expect the same thing. If anyone watched him in the WBC, he looked incredible. We know what type of a hitter this guy can be. If you watch college ball at all, he was just fantastic. And I think that another year in the majors, especially now in Kauffman Stadium with those walls 10 feet in on either side, I think he's going to have a really fantastic year. So it is certainly hard to poke holes in this lineup. I guess the biggest concern early on would be Jose Caballero at shortstop. But if JP Crawford's able to slide in there, I think that's already a massive upgrade. And we know that, guys like Crawford and Volpe are probably going to be getting more of the reps there throughout the season. So I don't really have many critiques, if I'm being completely honest, to give out. So it's a phenomenal lineup. Just go look at it. It's so good. It's going to carry him this year. But it certainly won't need to, because he has a pitching staff that is no slouch either. Leading things off in the number 1 spot, Cole Reagans, ranked at number 40. Cole Reagans came over in a pretty big trade. I want to say it was like 5 or 6 pieces for one with Serial Chillers last year. And if I'm mixing up who Reagans came over for, please someone correct me. Actually, you know what? I'm sure it was Serial Chillers, because he was the one who ended up using JMC's first round pick to take Dax Kilby. Reagans, I think, had a bit of an injury-ridden season last year, but has shown that true, ace upside potential the year before in 2024. I think we're likely to see that happen again this year. Chase Burns, ranked at number 51, will be the number 2 in this rotation. Obviously, young guy out in Cincinnati, with Yuri Perez ranked at number 53 as the number 3 in this rotation. Moving down to the unranked members, we have Jack Leiter, Cam Schlittler, Ryan Weathers, who of course you mentioned earlier, and then what are we going to see this year in Roki Sasaki? It is, I think, a really solid group outside of those sort of ranked in that top 1,000. I'll kind of get to that back top of the group in a moment, but I think you see a lot of young upside across the entire group. All of them. Weathers, I'm just quickly looking for his age here. Yeah, Weathers is 26. Sasaki is 24. Schlittler is 25. And Leiter is 25. So these are all guys, probably even before they're about to enter their prime, who have shown impressive performance at the major league level. Kind of up and down for Sasaki. Obviously, he had that unbelievable run in the bullpen during the playoffs last year. It does look like the Dodgers are looking to have him start again. I don't know if he'll be starting off in the minors or in the majors. I don't think we've quite heard the news from that yet. But if he kind of turns into, obviously, what we think and know he can be, that all of a sudden probably becomes another one of those guys ranked in that top 100 if he kind of reaches that ceiling. Will Warren's another name to keep an eye on, and kind of a fun one just to, Chase Dollander, who it's hard to ever get too excited about a Rockies starter, but Dollander certainly has the prospect pedigree to believe that there is at least something there that, maybe you stream him on the non-Coors starts. But that top three, you love it. I talked about Reagan's, and then Burns and Perez, a couple of flamethrowers. Burns is 23, Perez is 22. So these guys, gosh, this is such a young team, and they're so competitive. Burns is just an absolute flamethrower, as I mentioned, and had a good introduction to MLB, if not great. And then, Yuri Perez actually pitched quite well last year in, about the 20 starts he got. I think he's looking to build on that even more as he's kind of stepping into the number 2 role in the Marlins rotation, after they traded away Edward Cabrera and everything. So this is a phenomenal starting pitcher staff. I really like the bullpen as well. You've got Abner Uribe, Danny Palencia, and Trevor McGill as kind of the 3 I'll highlight. I do like Mason Montgomery a lot as well. It looks like he is, the sort of number 1 lefty in the Pirates bullpen. I've obviously mentioned my affinity for left-handed pitchers, particularly from a relief role, just because of the frequency of their usage. But it does look like, I believe Palencia will be closing for the Cubs, if not closing, certainly in a back-end role, and same thing with Uribe for the Brewers. So a couple of closers who I think have shown really impressive strikeout stuff to, up those numbers even more. And then the last thing we'll touch on just in the pitching staff, Schwellenbach and Carlos Rodon are 2 names that will be back at some point this year. Schwellenbach, it looks like, later in the season, probably, June, July-ish. He got TJ last June, so that's around a year out. And obviously that first year coming back from TJ is always a little bit iffy. So Schwellenbach is likely a guy we're going to see really become a staple in that rotation again next year in 2027. But Carlos Rodon, it does look like he'll be back pretty quickly. He should debut at some point in April. There was some bone spur removal surgery that he had last year. And he did bounce back quite well after a tough couple of first years in New York. Last year he had over 700 points as a starting pitcher. So really, phenomenal stuff. Obviously, we know what he can do from a strikeout perspective. And when he's, throwing the innings to go along with it and limiting damage, I think there's a lot of good stuff. There's not much more to say. I can gush and gush and gush about this pitching staff and this lineup. Both of them are absolutely top class, but let's talk over the prospects and possible promotions a little bit. We will actually start off with a prospect who is ranked on the top 100. That's Max Clark, ranked at number 69. He's ranked at prospect number 9, so obviously right near the top of that list too. The guy's just an elite dynasty prospect. He is. The upside is that he could probably steal you 40 bags and hit 25 to 30 home runs a year. He is, I think, giving reason to believe that upside could hit because he's performed really well, not just in the minors, but in the upper minors. He had a 135 WRC plus last year in the upper minors. His hit tool is not elite, kind of like the one I mentioned on McGonagall in a couple previews ago, but it's a very good hit tool. It's unclear, I think, how soon we'll see him in the majors. Again, I think that our, resident Tigers fan, in this case, KJ can probably give us a little more, insight into when we might see him, but it looks like there is a good chance he will probably be getting some time in center field this year, or certainly in the outfield, I should say, and I have a lot of faith that he will perform when he makes his way up. Actually, as I'm thinking about it, it seems somewhat unlikely that he'll be in center field, given a few of those highlights that we've seen in the in spring training, but certainly should fit into an outfield spot. And I think it's just going to hit the cover off the ball when he gets up here. Joshua Baez is ranked at number 28 on the prospect list. He's a prospect I really like, sort of a center field, right field type for the Cardinals out there. And, he crushes the ball and he swipes a lot of bags. Last year, it looks like he stole 34 bags in, just under 70 games. So, he's stealing a bag every couple games. And he kills the ball. He's a big guy, 6'3", 220, and I think doesn't have the tremendous hit tool risk that you typically see out of a guy of that sort of height. Obviously, there is a hit tool risk. Again, those tall guys, it's just always, you're always likely to see that risk there. But I think he, last year in particular, started kind of gaining traction as a prospect when he was showing that the risk wasn't coming at the cost of him being a truly elite prospect. So he is obviously ranked pretty highly on this list. It's hard to imagine he won't get some early run in the outfield for the Cardinals. And I think he could make what is already an impressive outfield even stronger. Once he gets to the majors and is kind of hitting in the heart of that Cardinals order. The last prospect I will be going over is Carlos Lagrange. I know he goes by both. He mentioned, I saw in the interview, but he is, of course, a Yankees prospect there. I read a profile of him that kind of comped him to Dellin Betances, which I really liked. He's 6'7", 250 with just an absolutely elite fastball, can touch 100 and a plus breaking pitch. Leading up to this year, he struggled a lot with command. So the sort of prevailing belief going into spring training was that, look, the Yankees are probably going to give this guy a chance to start. They might give him a chance to start, but he's probably coming out of the bullpen once he gets to the majors. But he had a really fantastic spring, and I think kind of showed some faith that, hey, maybe this guy actually can handle, a starter's workload and has the command to match up. Obviously, he has the stuff for it, but, the command and the stamina to kind of work through. So I think it is likely that, the Yankees do kind of give him that chance to start at the major league level. And it should be really interesting to see, what he looks like when he does get there. I haven't done this a ton for other teams, but just I'm keeping an eye on the kind of rest of his, the prospect pool here on the Bandoleros, and there's some really impressive guys. Jesus Made over in the Brewers, he's only 18, but has been just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. And Dax Kilby, as well as Aiden Miller. So kind of that trio of shortstops that I'm keeping a pretty close eye on for some guys. So this team is set up in every way for the present, for the future. They are set up for the present and the future in their lineup, if that makes sense, with how young the lineup and rotation are. And then also have that really impressive group of prospects to back it up. I have a hard time going low on this team. I am projecting them to finish 7th, going 14-7 on the season. Finishing 2nd, going 14-7 on the season, and of course making the playoffs. JMC's team, the Bandoleros here, I think is as good a contender for a Lollygaggers World Series favorite as we have. And we can only expect to see some impressive things out of the Bronx this upcoming season. I will be back tomorrow with the number 2 ranked team, and then, of course, getting down to number 1 on opening day eve. So this has been a ton of fun. Looking forward to diving in even more with some of these impressive teams, and we will see you tomorrow.
Do you know what that makes you, Larry?
Lollygaggers.
Lollygaggers.